Hey guys, my name is Xiao. I'll introduce the control flow in Perl and how to handle user input and output. So let's get started with control flow. First, if statement. For if statement, we will check the condition. If the condition is true, then we will run the conditional code, which is the if code block here. Otherwise, the condition is false. If we have an else statement, we will run the else code block. If we don't have this else statement, then this function will just get to the end. Let's take a look at this example here. We define two variables, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2. If a is equal to b, then we'll print a and b are equal. Otherwise, we'll print a and b are not equal. In this situation, since we have a and b are not equal to each other, we'll just print a and b are not equal. And for the while statement, we will check for the condition in this while loop. If the condition is true, we'll run the code block, which is the statement here. And then we'll go back to the condition and check the condition again. Usually in this statement, we will have some function to increment the value of the condition so that we won't get stuck in the infinite loop. And once we get to this place that condition is false, this function gets to the end. And for the example here, we will define variable a is equal to 5, and while a is less than 10, we'll print the value for a and increase the value for a by 1. So initially a is equal to 5, so we'll print 5, increase it by 1, which is 6, and since 6 is still less than 10, we'll print 6 here. We'll repeat this for 2 more times until we get a is equal to 9. So we print 9 and increase 9 to 10. And since it's no longer under this condition, this while loop gets to the end. So the output will just be from 5 to 9. And at the end, we have for loop. For for loop, we need 3 statements. We need the initial value, we need a condition, and we need an increment. So for the initial value here, we check if it's under the condition for the first time. If the condition is true, then we will run the code block, which is the statement as here. And we'll do the increment on this initial value and go back to the condition, check if it's still under a condition. If so, we'll repeat what we just did. If not, the if condition gets to false and the function gets to the end. Okay, for this for loop here, the initial condition is a is equal to 5. The condition is a is less than or equal to 9, and the increment is increase a by 1. And for each time of this for loop, we'll print the value for a. So a start with 5, we print it, increase the value of a by 1, which is 6, and until we get 9, a is less than or equal to 9. That means 9 will be printed, and we increase the value for a by 1. That gives us 10. In that case, the for loop gets to the end. So this for loop is pretty much the same as the while loop, and we can do the transfer whenever we want. Just need to make sure that for while loop, it was a less than 10, but here is a less than or equal to 9. So now we get to the getting user input. The function standard input is used when asking an input from a user. Let's take a look at the code here. The first line will print this message to the screen, your name please. And then we define a variable name, and which is equal to the function standard input. And we use another function called chomp, which I will introduce later. And at the end, we'll print your name is and whatever the user input is. So first, let's say I input shell for my name, and the chomp here actually removed the new character, the new line character after inputting the name. So we all know that after we input the name, we'll hit enter. So chomp is used to remove that new line character. And at the end, it prints your name is Xiao. So this is how we get user input. And for standard output or standard error, when we run a program on the command line, it automatically has two separate output channels. One of them is called standard output, and which is the default output channel. The other one is standard error. So first, let's take a look at the first two lines of the code here. The first one, we have print, welcome to our print test. And the second one is print standard out, welcome to our print test. For this two, since we just mentioned that standard output is the default output channel, so these two lines actually do the same thing. And for the third one, it says print to standard error, cannot open file. So let's see what the output of this three line is. On the screen, we have the two lines, print to standard output, but the third one, it's supposed to print to standard error, but it still shows up on the screen. The reason for that is because by default, both two channels are connected to the screen, which is shell, terminal, or command line window. So they mix. But the user of the program can decide to separate them. We can redirect them, one of them or both of them to a file. So this is what I'm going to introduce next. The command line redirection. We can separate the output into two channels by using the symbol greater than to standard output or 2 greater than to standard error. So let's say we have a program named as program.perl. The first line is print, welcome to our print test. And the second line is print to standard error, cannot open file. So first I run Perl, program.perl redirect to out.txt. So here we just use the greater than symbol. That means we are printing to standard output. So the first line of this function will be printed to the file. That means in the out.txt file, we'll have the first printing situation, welcome to our print test. And on screen, it shows up what we printed to standard error since we don't have a redirection to that situation. So on screen, it will print cannot open file. And let's say we have Perl run this program, redirect to error.txt. So on screen, it will show up our default printing to standard output, welcome to our print test. And in our error.txt is what we direct in. So it will print down cannot open file. So this is the control flow and the user input output in Perl. Thank you.